Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I wanted to talk about paper some more. I've done a video on paper weight where I discuss pounds versus grams, and I've done a video on surfaces and the way and ingredients paper are made. Today I thought I would do a video on paper sizing. Are you ready? So first we have to talk a little bit about the history. So there's two basic types of paper with standardized sizes. There's one from the American National Standard Institute, and this is a non-profit private company that oversees product standards. And the second one is the ISO, and that is the International Organization for Standardization. And they develop and publish international standards, and the ISO is what does a bulk of the sizing. So we'll start with that one because everything's a lot. So when they create 164 countries, by the way, belong to the ISO, the International Organization for Standardization. And they came up with the sizing. So the A4, which, to see what that looks like, this would be an A0, cut in half would be an A1, cut that in half would be an A2, cut that in half would be an A3, cut in half A4, cut in half A5, and so on and so forth. It's concentric. So A4 is pretty much the bulk of paper, and this is used internationally. So the B series, boy, can you even see that? Okay, I think so. The B series is used for posters, passports, and some books, and that operates the same way. It's concentric and it cuts in half, and the larger the number gets, the smaller the size is. So A6 is small, while A4 is large. It sounds backwards, just written out like that, but when you visually see it, it makes more sense. B is set up the same way. There's also C series of paper, and that is primarily used for envelopes. So this is all international, it's universal, it makes sense. We get into weird sizes when it pertains to business cards because every country has their own size, and I will link a webpage. It's paper.io, and you can look and see it has millimeters, it has conversions, it has everything and breaks it all down if you're doing projects internationally, or you're just really curious, or maybe you want to adopt a style and then a size from another country because you think it looks amazing. Everything's a little different. So the RA standard, there's an RA standard, and that is a raw format A. So it's this at 105%, in case you're ever wondering when something is written at RA. Imperial sizing, this is historically was used before, like the British, Britain and the UK adopted the metric unit system. So before the metric system, it was called Imperial, and that's where you get names like Fool's Cap, which is not an A4. I believe there is still one company that manufactures the Imperial sizing. I can link that company. It's very specific, but honestly, Imperial has the best names, like Elephant and Eagle and Princess and Atlas. It's really cool. There's another one called Transitional sizing, and that deals with PA and F. So F is typically used more in Southeast Asia, and PA, these are just used to transition between other sizes. These were never adopted by the ISO, the International Organization for Standardization. They weren't adopted because they were trying to keep it as simple as possible, even if it doesn't seem that way. So these are also sizes. Architecture has their own sizes. We can talk about like book sizes. So that's in like quartos, the folio, quarto, octavo. And that's sort of a similar setup. So the whole thing would be called the folio. And it has to do with the way sheets were folded, they were folded in half twice when they were bound and put into books. So this then became a quarto, and this was the octavo. So, and then the American Library Association helps with keeping this regulated and going good. UK, you use a B format, and you can see that like by Penguin Books publishers uses the B format. Japan has their own sizing system where they kind of use A, B, and Japan. We love you, Japan, but a lot of their stuff is vertical and not horizontal, so that would make sense they have their own sizing. So this is for published books. We also publish books in the US. If you're self-publishing, they can be put into the US standard, which is what we're going to get into now. So the ANSI is the American National Standard Institute. Okay, so in 1921, the government created 2 different committees to determine paper size. They screwed up. And the Permanent Conference on Printing said, hey, we're making it 8 by 10.5. Yay! And the Committee on Simplification of Paper Sizes said, no, we're making it 8.5 by 11. And it wasn't until our 40th president, Ronald Reagan, that he declared 8.5 by 11 our standard size. And then in 1992, the ISO recognized it and said, yeah, okay, that makes sense for you guys. So we have our own standard system that is just for America. And if you're wondering why we never got on board with the A's, the B's, and the C's with the international, politics and war. I can link different articles about that, but we just decided we don't want to adopt anything that we decided our enemies were using, and we're just going to keep with this system, and this is what we're using it as. Now we have ANSI 1 or A. ANSI A would be letter format. ANSI B is the 11 by 17, which is tabloid size, and so on and so forth. So we have our own set of stuff. But if you're wondering where things come from, what things are called, where they're sized, this is sort of a short breakdown in history of all that, how it came to be, what it actually looks like visually. And if you want to use that, if you're doing graphic design and you want to create designs that maybe utilize some of this sizing, this would be the way to go. I will link a couple really cool web pages that have the history. I'll link a couple web pages that show the sizing. So if you're curious what a business card looks like all over the world, or what Columbia is doing for their sizes, it's fascinating. Okay, I'm going to let you go, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.